Ryan Little.
GTI fanboy throughout the years, yes, I'm one of those guys. I always try and get as many Golf GTIs on the channel as possible. Newer stuff, older stuff. Today we have a Mark 7 GTI with a twist though. This is on bags, so a performance car on bags, right? But it has the Golf R Mark 7 engine up front, producing 380 horsepower on the dyno before a few mods. So I'm going to ballpark 390 on this one today, but as a GTI fanboy, this has got to be up there with one of the best platforms that the GTI name has been brought to, and then mating it with the better engine from this platform, which was the Golf R. That's my humble opinion, and that's the way I'm going to be starting today's video, because your club sports, all that sort of stuff, they're expensive. If you found on the market a Mark 7 with the R engine in a GTI, I feel like that is not only great bang for your buck, you know, say it's circa 15 grand, not necessarily for this car today, but you'll find a relatively good GTI for. I feel like this is the best scenario for the GTI these days, although I'm a Mark 5 GTI fan and I always will be. And we've just dropped a ton of new hats on the FYD Apparel website. Link is in the description. This is including my favourite, the completely blacked out with the black diamond on top. Available in 5 new colours with blacked out diamond crosses on the front. These UK manufactured trucker hats are a must this summer. Available in very limited numbers. Support the channel, FYD Apparel, link is in the description. The Mark 7 holds a special place in my heart at the moment, and this has got to be the best version with the R engine, but with the GTI still front wheel drive. We're working with a DSG car today as well, so I feel like that as a just sub 400 horsepower Golf R engine GTI front wheel drive DSG full leather car, I feel like that is pretty pinnacle at the moment, unless you're spending £1 million on a club sport. They're not £1 million, but like they're loads of money. So first things first, I'm going to talk about and introduce the Air Ride. So this has the Airlift 3P performance system on it. This car has seen a racetrack. It's been around Snetterton, and the owner said honestly it drove unbelievable because it's been set up properly. You're able to drop this thing to the ground, but you're also able to throw it round as you wish. And the owner was telling me, listen mate, honestly it's a GTI, it's supposed to be fun to drive, front wheel drive, bit of fight from the front end, like the old school GTIs used to be about. That is this car, but with the added bonus of course getting over speed bumps and stuff. I will always fight the Air Ride corner though, and I will say that I am an Air Ride fan. I've always been an Air Ride fan. Slamming cars on the ground, lifting them up and be able to go over stuff, aesthetically stancing out, as you would call it, is one of my favourite things to sort of have as a car owner. I love my cars to be on the floor, but with the added idea that it drives insanely good in a performance hot hatch is really hard work. So I'm going to find out whether this car is that car. So we'll tip it into, from DSG, we'll go into sport mode and we'll throw it through some corners. Again, I'm not going to go mad in this car, but I want to understand that bagging a car, especially a front wheel drive GTI, because I'm such a fan of these cars, is there any drawback? I'm not so sure there is, because it's super comfy as is, but let's see what it's like when we go through some twisties. Right, so second gear. The power from the Golf R engine still never disappoints in my opinion. The fight from the front end is key here though, so you'll see from a Golf R, it plants it, you know, disappears, relatively numb. I've said that in the past, a lot of people will say that, but they are fast, right? The GTI, they still have the fight from the front end. You still have the dartiness, when, especially when you're under load. That is why I love these. Second gear. feels like it's using all of the power that it has to try and throw you down the road, and that's what I love. But does it corner properly? That's always the question people want to know. Like, bagging a car, does it destroy the handling? Right, first corner I've sort of seen, so absolutely fine. No drawback there, mate. No drawback in my books. Again, I've owned a lot of bagged cars in the past. Some of them really cheaply bagged, some of them really nicely bagged. The new generation of bagged cars, though, there's no drawback to this. If all your lines are working and it's not leaking, you're actually golden. You can still kick this car's head in. In fact, the owner was telling me, like, honestly, mate, you can't drive it any harder than I do. And I've never had a failure. I've never had it, you know, go seriously wrong from the air, which is really nice to hear from an owner's point of view that actually drives this car on a daily basis. I'd jump in it and shoot it. But relaying back to you guys that maybe sometimes bagging a car is a pretty good idea and it still will perform the way you want it to, especially when you're throwing power down on one of these chassis. It is so nice to me that this has the general whole package, in my opinion, from the GTI and Mark 7 chassis. It has the engine, it has the power, it has the looks, it has the carbon. I mean, we haven't even got to the carbon yet. Carbon bonnet, one of 2 in the UK, carbon rear spoiler, wheels. It just, honestly, this is me being the younger version of Jamie that loved, you know, especially Golf GTIs, but the bagged scene, it just looks so good. And I'll always be a VAG fan. Will say that. I'll always be a VAG fan. So I look at cars like this and I think, that is proper sick. And if this was my daily, I'd be well happy. So let's have a quick look around this thing again. Sorry about the road today, because there's a lot of traffic going on down here today. Coming up front, we've got the carbon bonnet again, one of, what, 2 in the UK, with these slats in there. Looks so cool. Got Maxim Design and TRC splitters going all the way around the car. Black badges up front, but I will pop the bonnet and show you guys under here. We have the Mark 7 R engine, but in the GTI, which I think is a great combination. If you do ever need to change the engine in this, don't put the GTI back in there, put the R1 back in there. Now, I don't know too much about actually doing, not necessarily the conversion, because it's the same platform, same chassis, all this sort of stuff, but something relatively easy for a competent mechanic, unlike me, but still such a cool thing to put in if needs be. More power created very easily, stronger engine, definitely worth doing if you need to. Obviously, if you don't have to change the engine, don't, but pretty cool either way. But if you do, this is the right thing to do. Now we have carbon on the wing mirrors just here, and I will show you guys inside, because again, if you're after a 7 or you like your 7s, full leather interior, heated seats, bigger screen at car as well, as you'll just see, just there, bit of carbon in there, paddles, because I always feel like these DSG cars need a set of paddles on them. This is a 4-door one as well, which, being an older gentleman these days, I'm about 4-door life, because, I mean, kids, it's just easier, isn't it? Spoiler at the back, carbon fibre with a diffuser, with that Remus exhaust as well. Look at that, just across there. Super cool car though. I want to tick one of these off the list someday, and hopefully mine looks like this. So in my previous life, before I was on the YouTube, I was heavily into Golfs, mainly like the dub scene, raw form wheels, air ride, stuff like that. So this to me harps back to what got me into cars like this. We will just though air it up. Here we go, select the center button. I remember that, but I don't miss the noise of the noise of the air tank in the back. That's one of those things that you'll always get in bagged cars. My Cadillac at the moment is very much like that, but presets on this, 50, 60 at the back, mid 60, 70 at the front. Something for, you know, Mark 7 platform guys maybe to note that that's how this is sat. Obviously when it's on the ground it's on 0. Ride height about 70, 60 rear. Cornering flat, cornering right as well, cornering really, really nicely. I am so impressed with this car. It seems to just do everything. And this is why I was a GTI fan to start with. And I'm waffling a bit about GTIs, but this is why I like them. And we haven't even got into the inside. You know, I've shot a fair few of these, and you know, you guys know the Mark 7 platform, but inside, there's a bit of carbon here that's been put there, but it's got the bigger screen, the leather seats with the heating in the seats. It's quiet in here as well, though. You've got a Remus exhaust system, you've got Miltech downpipes. You got a good set of power going through this. Still, it's just like the nicest car. Swiss Army knife, this car. It's a Swiss Army knife of hot hatches. I'm gonna say it.